Hello, Exiles. This is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and welcome to another Path of Exile video. In today's video, I'm going to go over what I plan on running as a League starter, and rather than going through the normal guide thing, I'm going to actually explain why I chose to do this, because as you have seen, if you've seen the patch notes for 3.15, the GGG banhammer has come across pretty much everything, and I actually had thought of running this build prior to even seeing the patch notes, so there's a lot going on with that, and there are going to be some changes that are going to hurt this build a little bit, but I think this is going to be less affected than your average build, and I've run it through solo self-found. It's been fairly effective at getting through the game. My thought process is on day one, I want to just run through and farm Kitava and maybe a little Itziri by the end of day one. I don't want to, rush through the end game, try to do all the Maven stuff right away. And this is kind of a character that's going to be set up for that. I've successfully ran through and gotten done with the first Itziri prior to level 75 on both attempts pretty comfortably. It's a pretty decent job at mapping and a pretty decent job, at least in early maps, at killing Kitava. And what it is it's an exsanguinate. It's an exsanguinate trapper. And there's a lot of things I like about this build. First of all, the mana multipliers for almost everything is going to go up substantially. So currently I have exsanguinate with trap, chain, cluster traps, and trap and mind damage. I may actually change trap and mind damage for brutality, just because trap and mind damage is going to get, instead of reduced mind throwing or trap throwing speed, it's going to have less, which means not only is it going to take more trap throwing speed to break even in terms of your trap throwing speed, but it's also going to make each point of trap throwing speed beyond that less effective. And so I don't really think it's worthwhile, maybe as a sixth link. I haven't really thought that far ahead, but the possibility, once you get a good amount of trap throwing speed, of having this as a sixth link is fine. But yeah, I would recommend mostly utility, honestly. It's fine. It's fine as far as clearing goes. So one of the main reasons I chose this build is because it works really well with Deerstalker. You can get an early 5 link. This is an item that will probably be fairly well available pretty early on. It's a pretty common item, and unless a lot of people are having the same kind of idea, it should be relatively cheap to get very early on. So you can get this, get an early 5 link, and then if you do get a 5 link like I did here, I got lucky, found a white 5 link on the ground, just threw it's not very good, obviously. I just threw an elk on it and left it, but if you do happen to get a 5 link, then you can have your other main damage dealer for bossing, Seismic Trap. Seismic Trap is actually getting huge buffs. I think to the point where it may actually outpace some of the nerfs. So especially as like a 4 or 5 link. Once you get beyond that, it's definitely going to be weaker than, say, if you had a 6 link Seismic Trap otherwise. But yeah, currently as a 4 or 5 link, I think it doesn't really have any detriment from the losses, because we're using things like Advanced Traps. Advanced Traps is a utility support. It's going to give us a bunch of cooldown recovery rate, allowing us to spam this more frequently. I am using Brutality, which I guess is getting nerfed significantly, but the base damage for Seismic Trap is getting buffed by 40%. And it's also making it so the waves released are, instead of being based on your cast speed, which this build does not invest in pretty much at all. As you can see, I have 0.8 instead of 0.9. Instead, it'll be based on your trap throwing speed, rather. I keep saying mines. I want to play mines, but I'm going to play traps. So we have that going. So it's going to, and it's also getting a huge AoE buff. So it's getting damage. It's going to proc more frequently, and it's also going to have a lot more AoE. So Seismic Trap is actually, I think, probably going to be a very good boss killer. It is actually a fairly good boss killer, and I'll show that in a little bit here, as it is in just a white map. just to show, but for early on, it seems to be a pretty solid boss killer. Now, since we're going to have our trap throwing speed dictate the proc rate, probably not going to run trap and mind damage support. We'll have to figure something else out, but brutality is definitely staying in, and we're going to see what else we can get going with that. So, here, that is pretty much the build. I'm playing a Saboteur. As far as that goes, since we're going to be using life with Exsanguinate, because Exsanguinate is based on, or it uses your life instead, we're actually going to start with Pyromaniac, which gives you 2% life per second for each trap triggered recently, up to 10%. That, and we also get immunity to shock and ignite, and this is actually huge because a lot of sources of immune to ailments are going away, but this one doesn't appear to be touched. So if you want to still get that shock and ignite immunity, Pyromaniac's the way to go. So we're going to be able to regenerate the life we spend, and we do go through life a little bit, but we're going to proc our traps really quick here. Let's see, as soon as they go off, our life regen just shoots up. Second, if you're playing this in hardcore, which I don't know if I would necessarily recommend, if so, you're going to want to build it tankier, but you'll definitely want to go Born in the Shadows. You may want to do this anyway. Just blinding nearby enemies is really good. It'll synergize well with our acro phase acro as well as high evasion. I have 6.1k. I want to scale that up more through this and like survivalist and the rest of these evasion life, and just getting better evasion on gear. Like I don't have any on my gloves. This helmet sucks. I can definitely get something better, but I got a decent amount from my shield and my body armor, which body armor could obviously do much better. But yeah, you could easily get some pretty high evasion, plus Jade Flasks. I don't even have that rolled, but with that we have over almost 15k, so it's pretty solid. And the skill tree I have set up here is pretty basic. It just goes through here. I get the physical damage. I'm scaling a lot of generic physical damage, except for up here. I may go up and get all of this because it has cast speed if I'm able to get the Temple Trap Gloves. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but if I'm able to get those relatively early, I might get Force Shaper in that area, and I'll also get Hasty Reconstruction at some point. But as it stands, I go through here through the physical damage, get Blood Siphon, get like the physical damage Fangs of the Viper. Up here, Expeditious Munitions and Clever Construction are going to be your top priorities. So getting these, this will increase your trap trigger area of effect, which will be good for quality of life. And this will make it so your traps can't be damaged for 5 seconds after throwing them, which means, you know, your various AoE effects aren't going to just kill your traps before they have a chance to go off. And after that, you can basically just beeline over here and grab all this nice physical stuff, Veteran, Soldier, Relentless, and the Vanquisher wheel if you want. You get a good amount of life going through there. You get like Sentinel, which gives you evasion and all resist. Lots of good stuff there. At some point you want to get dodge and or acro phase acro. The life wheel up here, you're gonna need some strength. All the stuff over here for the most part, maybe like cut off up here, still get like Veteran, Soldier, and Relentless. If you get a good cluster jewel, you can put it in here and you can kind of get rid of this stuff over here. I would recommend your generic physical cluster jewels because it's going to benefit both skills. It's kind of weird because we're scaling physical damage over time as well as just the flat physical damage. So things like physical damage over time multiplier don't benefit both, but regular just physical damage does. So that's something to consider, and that's partially why I don't get growth and decay as well. You probably could focus more on just Exsanguinate, but I honestly think Seismic Trap's going to be huge for bossing. So big buff there. But yeah, then you just get all the trap related stuff like your Master Sapper. Your Frenzy charges help quite a bit. You can pick up Frenetic here, get more Frenzy charges. You'd have to go a little out of your way to get Fervor, but I mean, it's not too many points. It's 3, and I'm still low level, so that still may happen. But I have like gems to pick up here. or jewels to pick up there, and then hasty reconstruction that I want to hit as well. So there's a little bit of stuff there, but for the most part, this seemed to work out for leveling pretty well. It felt smooth for the most part. One of the biggest things to worry about is Seismic Trap's mana cost. If I place all three of them, I have a hard time immediately after casting my vulnerability. I am using vulnerability. I'm also using Void Sphere. This kind of just groups things together. I don't think I'll be using it, and if I do, I may use it as something like, I'm not even sure. So it pulses area damage, so I may just put like a Culling Strike or maybe a Curse on Hit set up with it, or a Hex Touch rather. So I may still use Void Sphere. It's a little bit of supplemental damage and has the utility of pulling things in. I don't know how often that'll be relevant, but it's just one of the things I've been messing around with. As far as weapon, I crafted, this is an item level 2 wand, and I just want to show, in case you don't know, one of the things you can do is you pop into Act 1 here, and you go to the coast, and you go ahead and you disable your item filter. So we're going to go ahead and take this to none, and then we're going to run around on the coast and throw traps at things until we get a wand. So as soon as we see a wand on the ground, we just pick that up. Any wand pretty much will do in this area. And it may take a couple pass-throughs. Usually you get it pretty quickly, but sometimes it takes a little bit because the monster density in here isn't great. There's a wand. Alright, so I take this driftwood wand that I found here. I go back to Lion-Eye's Watch. And the great thing about item level 2 wands is they can roll the plus gem levels rolls, but they don't have a lot of mods. So it's very easy to roll them. So basically, you just alteration, and you may have to wait until you have some alterations, but you just alter anytime there's a prefix taken up. See, this has a suffix but no prefix, so I can try. Okay, and usually it doesn't take that many alterations to get. Now, to specifically get physical damage is going to take a little longer unless you're lucky, but let's see if I can get one here. It only took me like maybe like 20 or so last time, but it looks like it's going to take me a little bit more this time. And yeah, your results may vary, but generally speaking, it's not super hard to get plus skill levels. It's actually taking more than it normally would, but I want to show there. Well, I got one with cold spell skill gems. You want one with physical, so it may take a little bit longer. So we would just go through and keep going until we get the physical, which may take a while. I might not even get it in my full stack volts, but you'll get plenty of volts later on, and you'll be able to get it at some point, so it's not that big of a deal. But I would like to get it for the video if possible, in my kind of limited amount of alterations here. There's a chaos one. And you can sell these too. So like I could just go find another one, sell this chaos one. It'd probably sell because people like to scale their chaos damage. I would say the most valuable ones will probably be the chaos and physical ones at this point, but I'm sure like all of them would sell because not a lot of people think to do this. And you can do it pretty early on, and as long as you're farming up alterations, you can get a lot of them. Like I'd have 2 of them for sale already, potentially. And it's just a matter of if you're going to make it. And there's a lightning one as well. So it looks like physical is going to be the last one we get, if we get it at all. But yeah, that'd be 3 that we could have sold, and we'd just head back and pick up another driftwood wand off the shore. You can even just get a bunch of them and just kind of mass roll them as well. Even throwing like elks later on onto them, making it actually even more likely since you're rolling more modifiers. Like the potential for what you can get is a little bit higher. Well, it's looking grim. There, got it. Haha. I knew I'd get it eventually. So, yeah, you just do that. And then if you have a Regal, you can throw it on. And I just crafted trap damage. It makes for a pretty solid weapon. So, now that I've done that, I'm just going to throw this in here. I'll just do a quick map to show the character. I don't have a lot of utility setups. I am using Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, Second Wind. All of those things are being nerfed. So I may end up using Frostblink or something instead. We'll have to see. Still Arcane Surge, but it doesn't give you the cast speed, which isn't super relevant in this. And it'll give us mana regen, but it won't give us percent mana regen, which is going to be a little bit different. So let's go ahead and I'll just do like... I just started this. I haven't played solo self-found standard pretty much at all on this account, so I just did some tier 1 and tier 2 maps. So yeah, we'll just throw... Alright. Yeah, and honestly, the mods don't really matter that much. So we're immune to reflect because we're using traps. Lack of regen can hurt us, I guess. And outside of like the normal dangerous, like more damage, curse stuff, which shouldn't be too bad. It's not bad, but yeah, you just run through. Exsanguinate Trap clears extremely well. It's got chain going on. The chain Exsanguinate is very nice. The best thing about doing traps with the cluster traps is that you're applying all 3 stacks of the damage over time immediately, so you get the full effect without having to use like Unleash or whatever. And from being able to do it from a good distance away, you can off-screen things. There's a lot of utility in playing traps, and yeah, like I said previously, you don't have to worry about Fizz Reflect. I still have my item filter off, but that's okay. It's just fine. Oops. And we'll get to the boss so I can show you the boss damage, which isn't bad for just a 4-link. And obviously, you'll have an extra link. You'll still probably be doing overall less damage, but I think it'll still be enough to clear unless they really pump up the damage for early maps, or the monster life for early maps. I think you'll still be able to clear with this, which is the important part. Not going to worry too much about that. I just kind of want to get to the boss, and here's the boss. So you just throw down your big traps, and then once they're going, you just throw down your Exsanguinate traps. So with seismic traps going off, you just throw a couple of them down, you vulnerability, and then you throw Exsanguinate traps until they run out, and then you just throw some more down. And it's pretty much as easy as that. I like this build. It's easy to level with. It's a fun character to play. It's a good play style. It's going to be buffed in some ways. It's not going to be nerfed as much as other builds as well. So I think relative to other builds, this is going to be a pretty solid one. I hope you enjoyed. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming. I hope you have a wonderful league start, and I will see you next time. Bye!